Om. 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 गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयन्मुदीरये। So yesterday we were looking at the Purva Pakshi's objection. Yeah, if you want me to read, I think from 4:45 I had put the number. Okay. The expression I do is only gauna, a figurative expression, Purva Pakshi's objection. When Shankara says this, the Purva Pakshi argues back by saying that when anyone says I do, it is only a figure of speech. देहादिसंघाते aham pratyayah gaunah na mithya. It is like saying I did 60 miles.
Bella, can you go one para before this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it is the Vedanti's answer. Any karma is due to ignorance alone. Shankara negates the Purva Pakshi and defines ignorance here, and in the process defines karma as that which is in the form of activity. Chalanatmaka. He says that any action which is chalanatmaka is anatma kartrika. That is, it is na atma kartrika, not done by atma. That is, it is done by one who has this notion that I am doing this action. Whatever be the karma, whether it is enjoined by the Veda, Shrauta karma, or enjoined by Smriti, Smarta karma, or it is done as an atonement, Prayashchita karma, or it is a prohibition, Pratisiddha karma, or it is in the form of a mandate, Nitya Naimittika karma, or it is in the form of an option to fulfill a desire, Kamya karma, or it is purely a secular action, Laukika karma, or is done physically, Kaika karma, orally, Vachika karma, or purely mentally, Manasa karma. It implies some kind of motion. There is movement, change, even in breathing, opening and closing the eyelids, and hearing, etc. Any mental activity is also motion. There is movement from one thought to another. One object is there, then that is gone, and another appears. On the part of the doer also, there is constant change. Now he is a seer, now a hearer, now a thinker. There is no karma without change and therefore motion. Now a karma which is subject to change is performed by whom? By Anatma alone. Is the body Atma or Anatma? Even according to this person who is arguing, the body is Anatma. Even though it is the body which is doing the action, and this fellow knows very well that the self is other than the body, what does he say? I do, aham karomi. He does not say my hand is offering the oblation or my body is bathed, but rather I offer the oblation. I bathe. He does not say that his tongue repeats the mantras, nor does he expect the tongue to get some results. Who is the karma phalabhokta? It is the person who thinks that he is going to get the results. Even though the action is done by the body does not think that it is the agent, that it is going to be the one who experiences the results. Whereas the person says, I do the action, I will enjoy the results. There is the ignorance or maya. Even though I have a belief that the self is other than the body, I can never avoid identification with the physical body, etc., because this is a belief only about the situation after death. The appreciation of the Atma should be total, otherwise, it can only be a simple belief. The notion that I am the body or that I am the agent, Karta, will be there because the subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, is identified with the body. Naturally, whatever happens there happens only to me. That notion of agency will not go away simply by a belief that the self is other than the body. The self is not subject to any movement, achala, and therefore, where is the agency, kartritva? Not even the Shastra can address this Atma. The Shastra can address only an agent of action. Keeping that in view, it says, do this. Can it address Sat Chit Ananda Atma? No. It says that you are such Chit Ananda Atma who does not perform any action and is free from samsara, and when it enjoins an action, it is only from the standpoint of the mind, which is superimposed upon Atma and has Atma superimposed upon it. Because of this mutual superimposition, there is a sense of agency, kartritva buddhi. This is a false notion, and therefore every action is preceded by ignorance. So that was the Vedanti's answer. And now again the Purva Pakshis the expression I do is
Sorry,
only,
Leela, I'm having you
yeah,
to repeat a little more. The point where he talks of the Sukshma Sharira after the body dies, no?
yeah,
Can you just repeat that part, please?
yeah. Okay. Any mental activity is also motion. There is movement from one thought to another. One object is there, then that is gone, and another appears. On the part of the doer also, there is constant change. Now he is a seer, now a hearer, now a thinker. There is no karma without change, and therefore motion. Now a karma which is subject to change is performed by whom? By Anatma alone. Is the body Atma or Anatma? Even according to this person who is arguing, the body is Anatma. Even though it is the body which is doing the action, and this fellow knows very well that the self is other than the body, what does he say? I do, aham karomi. He does not say, my hand is offering the oblation or my body is bathed, but rather, I offer the oblation. I bathe. He does not say that his tongue repeats the mantras, nor does he expect the tongue to get some results. Who is the karma phala bhokta? It is the person who thinks that he is going to get the results. Even though the action is done by the body does not think that it is the agent or that it is going to be the one who experiences the results. Whereas the person says, I do the action, I will enjoy the results. There is the ignorance, avidya. Even though I have a belief that the self is other than the body, I can never avoid identification with the physical body, etc. Because this is a belief only about the situation after death. The appreciation of the Atma should be total, otherwise, it can only be a simple belief. The notion that I am the body or that I am the agent, karta, will be there because the subtle body, sukshma sharira, is identified with the body. Naturally, whatever happens there happens only to me. That notion of agency will not go away simply by a belief that the self is other than the body. The self is not subject to any movement, achala, and therefore where is the agency, kartritva? Not even the Shastra can address this Atma. The Shastra can address only an agent of action. Keeping that in view, it says, do this. Can it address Sat Chit Ananda Atma? No, it says that you are Sat Chit Ananda Atma, who does not perform any action and is free from samsara. And when it enjoins an action, it is only from the standpoint of the mind which is superimposed upon Atma and has Atma superimposed upon it. Because of this mutual superimposition, there is a sense of agency, kartritva buddhi. This is a false notion, and therefore every action is preceded by ignorance. So it is that fundamental error. Body is jada only, and so the instruments of all actions. But it is superimposed due to the conditioning and ignorance. We believe that the body is performing the action.
So, this mutual superimposition, That's
Hmm.
the term that Swamiji has used. So Atma is superimposed upon the mind, and the mind is superimposed upon the Atma.
Hmm. So the vehicle is like very beautiful example Suresh had given. It is just like the car, our body. But we consider that like I drove 60 miles. It is the car which has driven.
Correct.
But still we associate so much with the body, no? And everything related to it.
Mm.
Here, but why Swamiji has said Sukshma Sharira is so it is all the not only Sukshma Sharira, all Shariras are identified, right?
Correct.
Karana Sharira, I mean, all is Anatma.
All that we can
Changing.
objectify and all that is changing is
Mm.
Anatma.
Mm.
Even the
And
notion
because,
that
mm.
after, sorry, you continue.
No, please continue, Brahma.
Even the notion that I am going to enjoy punya, that I is, again, it is the bundle of sukshma and the karana shariras. It is not the atma that is being talked of there, although it is a superimposed atma. There is a superimposition, which is why you think I am going to enjoy heaven and punya or papa, and then I'll come back, which is what the Purva Pakshi says, right? So he says, based on the Karma Kanda, he says, you do this, you get punya. So that
Mm.
I that enjoys that punya or papa is beyond the body. See, as long as in the body, you have that deha buddhi. But who is that I who's going to suffer, who's going to enjoy the punya and the papa? That is the sukshma sharira, sukshma and the karana shariras. There is
Mm.
no body there in so-called heaven after death.
Mm.
So even that is an effect of avidya. So because of the superimposition, and therefore the whole bundle, which is what Shankara mentions in the previous paragraph, all that is subject to change is
Mm.
considered is anatma, and that is what is doing. And the superimposition of the atma on the anatma gives the notion of this kartritva, of this agency, that I am
Mm.
suffering, I am hearing, which is what he says. That is the that is the avidya, that is the fundamental thing, the avidya which precedes any action. Whereas atma
Mm.
is achala. It is,
Mm.
there is no, there is only one huge, I mean, if you could imagine the it's like the ocean or the space where there is no movement. There is, I mean, ocean of course moves, but if you consider space, there is only that fullness. So where is the question of movement and where is the question of kartritva there?
Mm. It is just like the electricity which is making the apparatus work.
Like
In its absence,
this my message.
I'm sorry. Shall I read
Like
again?
our body, no, she wanted to read her message. Like our body, our mind, and thoughts and feelings are also separate from Atma. What does he mean by superimposed on Atma? It is like the snake being superimposed upon the rope. The truth is that there is only the rope, right? But then here we superimpose because of ignorance. The snake is superimposed upon the rope.
But the two things you said, right? Like, not you said. That was that the mind is superimposed on Atma, Atma is superimposed on mind.
Yeah,
That I didn't get that part.
neither did I get that. I didn't understand that mutual superimposition, which is why I wanted her to read it again.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't was not present. Can read again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is the Vedanta argument to the Purva Pakshi.
The Vedanta is that also same like Purva, who's Vedanti means the who knows the Vedanta.
No, to bring to the notice that here Purva Pakshi's argument was that because of the knowledge of the Agnihotra and everything, only they are able, although they know that Atma is separate from the body, but they have the knowledge. You can't say they are ignored. That's what they believe. The knowledge about the Karma Kanda, Sadhya and Sadhana, they believe that it is the real knowledge. So here Shankara is confirming that the knowledge about sadhana and sadhya is not the real knowledge. It is again the ignorance. Although you may know all the mantras and everything, but unless you know the Atma Jnana, unless you know yourself, it is all useless. It is equivalent to that person who is doing the Brahmahatya, knowing that it is a papa. That's what was
He doesn't know the complete knowledge. Advaita is the complete knowledge. They are
So
still
here,
in
yeah.
Dvaita. No, they are still in Dvaita.
So here is the Vedantis any karma is due to ignorance alone, Vedanti. Shankara negates the Purva Pakshi and defines ignorance here, and in the process defines karma as that which is in the form of activity, chalanatmaka. He says that any action which is chalanatmaka is anatma kartrika. That is, it is na atma kartrika, not done by atma. That is, it is done by one who has this notion that I am doing this action. Whatever be the karma, whether it is enjoined by the Veda, Shrauta karma, or enjoined by Smriti, Smarta karma, or it is done as an atonement, Prayashchita karma, or it is a prohibition, Pratisiddha karma, or it is in the form of a mandate, Nitya Naimittika karma, or it is in the form of an option to fulfill a desire, kamya karma, or it is purely a secular action, laukika karma, or is done physically, kayika karma, orally, vachika karma, or purely mentally, manasa karma. It implies some kind of motion. There is movement, change, even in breathing, opening and closing the eyelids, and hearing, etc. So these involuntary actions are brought to the notice by Shankara. Any mental activity is also motion. There is movement from one thought to another. One subject is there, one object is there, then that is gone and another appears. On the part of the doer also, there is constant change. Now he is a seer, now a hearer, now a thinker. There is no karma without change and therefore motion. Now a karma which is subject to change is performed by whom? By Anatma alone. Is the body Atma or Anatma? Even according to this person who is arguing, the body is Anatma. Even though it is the body which is doing the action, and this fellow knows very well that the self is other than the body. What does he say? I do. Aham karomi. He does not say my hand is offering the oblation or my body is bathed, but rather I offer the oblation, I bathe. He does not say that his tongue repeats the mantras, nor does he expect the tongue to get some results. Who is the karma phala bhokta? It is the person who thinks that he is going to get the results. Even though the action is done by the body does not think that it is the agent or that it is going to be the one who experiences the results. Whereas the person says, I do the action, I will enjoy the results. This is the takeaway line. I read once again. Please pay attention. Even though the action is done by the body, which is Jada, the body does not think that it is the agent or that it is going to be the one who experiences the results. Whereas the person says, I do the action, I will enjoy the results. There is the ignorance, avidya. Even though I have a belief that the self is other than the body, I can never avoid identification with the physical body, etc. Because this is a belief only about the situation after death. I repeat, even though I have a belief that the self is other than the body, I can never avoid identification with the physical body, etc. Because this is a belief only about the situation after death. The appreciation of the Atma should be total, otherwise, it can only be a simple belief. The notion that I am the body or that I am the agent, karta, will be there because the subtle body, sukshma sharira, is identified with the body. Naturally, whatever happens there happens only to me. That notion of agency will not go away simply by a belief that the self is other than the body. The self is not subject to any movement, achala, and therefore, where is the agency, kartritva? Not even the Shastra can address this Atma. The Shastra can address only an agent of action. Keeping that in view, it says, do this. Can it address Satchit Anandatma? No. It says that you are Satchit Ananda Atma who does not perform any action and is free from samsara. And when it enjoins an action, it is only from the standpoint of the mind which is superimposed upon Atma and has Atma superimposed upon it. Because of this mutual superimposition, there is a sense of agency, kartritva buddhi. This is a false notion, and therefore every action is preceded by ignorance. Very, very subtle aspect. Renuji says, mind is separate, yes, but superimposed on each other is confusing for me.
Okay. See, mind, body, intellect, complex is complete one, a separate entity. Atma is different. Okay. Superimposed upon Atma. That is correct. And has Atma superimposed upon it? He is asking the question, that is, has Atma superimposed upon it? And has
No,
Atma
it is not a Hariom. It is not a question, Sureshji. It
question
is a mutual understanding. It has
and
been
has
conditioned. We have been conditioned from Janmas
we
that
think
it is.
that it Atma
Hmm,
superimposed upon it. Oh, we
hmm.
think body is the main thing. He thinks
Although
body is
it
the
is
main thing.
Jada, yeah.
Jada, it is the main thing, and Atma is superimposed upon it. That is the Purva Pakshi. What? And also, mind which is superimposed upon the Atma. Therefore, he is attached with the body. He doesn't think that he is Atma. He thinks he is the body.
Actually, what is talked of is that whenever you enjoy an action, so you do an action, there the mind is working. That at that time the mind is superimposed upon the Atma.
Atma.
And
Yes.
what is that? And what is talked of is that Atma is superimposed upon it, is, I think, is the vrittis which we have from the past experiences. Because of that, because of those vrittis, we are acting, and at that time, that is how the Atma would be superimposed upon the mind. Because the mind will, at present, what you are doing, whatever action you are doing, that action is governed by the mind, which is superimposed upon the Atma. But where did you get
But
those
really,
thoughts? How to do that action?
Sorry. My question is why the Atma has been superimposed on anything.
Yeah, that I'm telling that only what
I agree
I
with you.
figured it out is that
Yeah.
when you do an action, if you at that time the mind is superimposed upon the Atma, it is at that time mind is governing your body, right? But where did you get those thoughts? A person can do a particular action in various ways. So how did you come to know that I have to do this action this way? So at that time, you were carrying some vrittis inside you. They are governing you, they are guiding you rather to do that action in that particular form. So at that time, the Atma is superimposed upon it. That is why you are doing that action with the help of the mind. And at that time, the mind is superimposed upon the body, upon the Atma, sorry.
No, that is the body, the person who thinks that, that is the person who thinks that he is the body. So
to do an action, you have to think that you are a body.
body.
So,
And he thinks that he thinks that is mind, and Atma is
Yeah,
mind.
with the help of his, with the help of his mind
Atma
only.
is the mind. He thinks that way.
Yeah. So with the help
So
of his
that is
mind only,
Atma
he will.
superimposed on the mind.
Yeah.
That is the person who is thinking body, mind separate and Atma separate. Okay. And because of the mind, he is doing all the vritti, all the work and all that, and enjoys it. And he superimposes the Atma on the body. That is not true, actually.
See, I think what is talked of is Atma is superimposed upon it, upon the mind.
Mind,
Yeah, it is that.
It is a wrong thinking, not
it
that.
It is like, the something in the background which is there, whose presence is there, though it is akarta and everything, it is not involved in any way in our actions, but it is there. Its presence is causing also the mind to work. If it is not there, then that is the, you can say, the subtlest thing which is present, because of which everything is happening. Because of that only the mind is working. And how it is working, it is because of that. Because it has experienced so many, through all these lives, it is so well versed with every action, how it is to be done, in what mode it should be done. So it is basically, it is that guiding light which is there, and because of which everything is happening. Like, this is what I understood out of this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the vritti part is to be, maybe must be have been pointed out here. Anyone else also can.
No,
say
he
something.
is not thinking Atma is him, he. He is thinking self is separate and body is separate. And he is doing the work. That is the first thing. Means he has superimposed himself on the rope, that is Atma, serpent. The imagination that body is doing everything is the serpent. That is, he has superimposed on it. But he thinks that body is everything is doing, and he superimposes the self on the body. That is what, which is wrong. Both are wrong. So Atma will follow the body. That is what he thinks. And that is not the correct knowledge.
But isn't it the Vedanti's view, what we are reading?
That is not the Vedanti's view. Vedanti's views, he is telling the views of the other fellow.
The heading says any karma
Ignorance.
is
What is
ignorance
ignorance is
alone.
Vedanti is defining.
Vedanti.
What is ignorance is defined by Vedanti. And that is ignorance.
Yeah, I think we'll park this question of this mutual
Nana,
superimposition. We'll get some more clarity from there. And this particular paragraph is the Vedanti talking about the
ignorance.
fundamental, ignorance which precedes any action. And that is because of this superimposition of the mind on the Atma. Atma is akarta, does not do any action, but it is the body-mind complex that is actually doing these actions. So this I do, if the tongue is saying something like I'm speaking, we don't say the tongue is speaking, we say I am speaking. So that I is what? It is the mind that is superimposed upon the Atma. There is no mind without the Atma. Atma is the substratum for everything. The very fact that I am existing, that I am, that existence part, that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, that is the basis of anything. So
that is
on
rope.
that basis,
That is rope.
I'm superimposing the mind and I'm saying I am talking, but not realizing that this I is actually actionless. So I'm superimposing the mind, the one that is identifying with the body and mind as the Atma, and I'm saying I am doing, I am talking, I am hearing.
That is ignorance.
And that is preceded by the ignorance that I am Atma, that I am Achala. I am Achala, I don't move, I don't, there is no movement in Atma. And that if we only know it as a belief, it has to become complete knowledge.
Knowledge, yes. That still ignorance is there.
Yeah. So what we'll do is this last part, that's mutual superimposition, we'll take to, we'll get some clarity, and I think we'll move ahead, Bela.
No, that mutual superimposition also is ignorance. That is what I'm talking. He thinks Atma has been superimposed on the body. So it does the work. That is mutual. And that is ignorance.
Mutual superimposition is the cause of that Kritatva Bhavna. So it is, yeah, so it
this is a false notion. That is what I'm talking.
Dr. Bhamra is saying that the I notion, it comes because of that mutual superimposition only. So that is basically, that is ignorance. That is
ignorance. That is what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Therefore, anything you do is preceded by ignorance. So that is ignorance. The Vedanta is defining the ignorance there. And both are wrong, mind, body, mind superimposed on the Atma, and he thinks body, mind is doing, therefore Atma is superimposed on it. Both are wrong. He is defining this ignorance there.
If anyone wants to share, I am having just the wow feeling that it is encompassing all involuntary actions also of which are happening inside. I mean, he has covered all the karma, kaika, vachika, manasika, so
all
beautifully, and none of them are you. You are the subject, very subject, which is it can never be objectified.
See, the ignorant person knows Atma is separate, soul, okay. But he thinks body, mind is doing everything. Therefore, he is superimposing that body, mind on the Atma. That's okay. First one. And he is taking body, mind as the basis and superimposing the self also on it. Therefore, he is thinking that I do, karta. But actually, Atma, he is not thinking that he is Atma and he is not doing anything. He is not thinking that. That is ignorant person. Means he knows the half knowledge. The knowledge is not full.
Yeah, it's not
Dvaita
uncommon.
bhavana is
No, like somebody who doesn't come across this knowledge, obviously is going to think like that, right?
yeah, that is what.
Yeah, obviously you're going to say, okay, I'm doing it, and I'm the one who gave the money to this person.
Everything, and I will face the situation like that.
So now
Hmm.
we have that better understanding of what this is. Everything is an Atma, and the Atma is, when you say I, that is
No, the
self.
basic
Like the
fault
truth.
is he is not thinking the I definition of I. He is not
Right.
thinking that he is I. He is thinking that he is body mind. That is the main difference.
But
Sorry to
Jai
interrupt.
Gurudev.
1 second. I just wanted to mention this, just so that we don't have two people talking at the same time. I think when one
Okay.
is talking, we'll allow one to complete the train of
Okay.
thought, and then we can add on. Otherwise, I think the train
Yeah.
of thought gets cut off, right? So we'll just maintain that little bit of discipline. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for that, but I thought of expressing it because the train of thought of mine will disturb again. Okay.
Jai Gurudev. Uh, without the big I, me, the body mind, doesn't exist, right? I mean, it's of no use. So, and same is true for the bigger I, has no expression without mind body. And I cannot separate myself, me, the body mind. My existence is not there without that big I. So when I'm saying me, does that not include that I as well? It just needs that understanding itself, isn't it?
See,
Because
that is
without
the
that I,
ignorance.
the big
That is
I,
the
without the big I would not exist. This is just a body mind then. But without that, I do not exist. Nor the big I cannot express without body mind. So they are interdependent. And so when I say I am the doer, does that not include big I as well? Because it is its presence through which I am working or I'm doing. Without that, what I will be? A dead body, right? So it's like saying the light bulb is there, its existence is there only because the electricity is there. But without the electricity, the bulb will not light up. It has no existence of light without that.
That
It's
is
not
very
doing
right.
it is its existence makes that light light up. So when I'm saying I am doing because of a bigger I's existence, I'm doing it. Without that, I'm not doing it. So even if you have that understanding every time when you are doing, will make a lot of difference, I feel. Though we may not realize it, but without that, we are nothing. So how can we say it is separate?
You see, can I explain now?
Yes, please.
See, there is electricity. Okay, you understood it. Flowing. And the bulb is the body. Okay. So the electricity is expressed in the body in the form of the bulb. But if the bulb is not there, do you mean that electricity is not there? It is there, no?
But it is not expressed, right?
Okay, no need. No need. It is there.
No. What I'm saying, when I'm saying I am the doer, I should include that big I also, because without its presence, I'm not doing. I cannot exist. So when I'm saying I am the doer, having it in thought that because of its presence, I'm doing it.
Because of the electricity, bulb is burning.
Correct. So
But
what is wrong when I'm
that
saying I am the doer? When I'm
No,
saying I am the
bulb is
doer,
saying, see here, bulb is saying, I am the doer. The meaning
but
of,
it's a whole package, right? It's not just separate into, like I'm saying I am made up of 5 elements. I cannot say every time that I am the water, I'm the earth, I'm the vayu. I don't say all of this. It's like same. I'm a bundle of everything. I'm made up of all of this. So I cannot keep saying that this is my mind, this is my body, this is my consciousness. Every time I would not say this, right? It's me as a bundle of everything together is me.
no, that is mithya. Only true existence is the electricity.
You know, Ninal, I think this, when you say that Viveka, right, discrimination, where is what is permanent, what is impermanent. I do understand what they're saying, but that is the knowledge that we developing in terms of okay, this body exists. This is given the name and form, like who it is. You know that I'm sure this substratum is the basis for all the existence, which is the Atma, right? The Brahman is the substratum for all existence, not just us. I mean, everything that exists in the world. But what we are trying to understand is when that, I mean, at least this is what when we have the self knowledge, when I initially thought it was about only Atma, but it's not. It's a knowledge about lot of things, In fact, we read it in that summary of everything. That all includes all that knowledge. But anyway, to coming back to that point, like yes, you that's what it's called, right? Satchit Ananda. But that is the existence. Without it, nothing exists. So that is the bottom line, right? So when we are saying I am doing, I mean, of course, in the Pura Pakshi point of view, how the saying I'm doing, which is more like a figurative speech. I didn't understand what the Gauna expression or that part. I think I ought to read it quietly myself, and then hopefully when we talk to Nanaji, maybe we could get more clarification. But then again, my feeling is that Purva Pakshi point of view is like they were figuratively saying, yes, I am doing this, instead of saying, I gave the oblation. But obviously, we are nothing in terms of that. We are not giving, uh, everything is His. Everything is, that is the knowledge that the Jnani gaining, I think. That's where that ignorance, will, with that veil of ignorance, that I part. We have to separate that I part from this small I and big I and all that part of it is not no I part here. The only one I is that only Brahman. That's the self part. That's what I am. That's what I feel. That's what I think we are to get it.
Very good, Maharaji. That is the correct explanation what you give. See, that is what is mixing it, that is the Viveka. The Viveka is that current is flowing, that is always flowing. It is there. You and you are that. And the bulbs and all of that impermanent. And it is not there. Actually, the world is not there. Only Atma is there. Mithya means it only appears, not exists. But we combine, as who was expressing it? Saralaji or the other? That combination, who was doing that? As she said, the other person who was telling it, no, same thing it is here.
Dr. Savitaji.
Savitaji. Not Savitaji, I think that is what he is telling, that they are in mutual. See, but Viveka is to differentiate it, that Atma is the permanent one, and whatever it is, the body, mind, everything is not mithya, it only appears, not exists. And Atma need not express, it is already expressible. You are there. It is Satchitananda. It doesn't need body to be expressed. That is what the confusion here. No, he thinks, the body thinks that Atma, he superimposes Atma on the body. Yeah, correctly. As she did now, just now. That is Viveka. So beautiful, really. Maharaji explained very, very nice. It is solved now, Viveka is what is permanent and what is not permanent, one thing, and what is appearing, not existing. A world is appearing only because of the movement of the thought. Once that thought, that achala, means no chala, there's no movement, world doesn't exist. World exists only because of that movement of the thought in the mind, not in the Atma. That is the Viveka. Beautiful, really good thing, good discussion. Very good discussion, very nice. Mithya is what? It appears, it is not there, but it appears like magic. Maya. But we think that is existing and we superimpose Atma on that. As now the other lady did it. Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, thank you for wonderful discussion. Indeed, very fruitful.
Yeah, very, very fruitful, really.
Mhm.
Means the other lady, what she was telling, that is described here. And Maharaji immediately pointed that Viveka. We have to have that Viveka, that body, it appears, body, mind, everything appears. It doesn't exist. It may exist for a time, that is again time bound. Like a dream, in the dream also it appears. It doesn't exist. World also appears. It doesn't exist. What exists is only the Atma. Like serpent was not at all there on the rope. We created it. So the Adhisthana, that rope is the Atma. And we put serpent on it by our thought. And that is the world. By our thought, we are creating the world. Like in the dream. And this world is a long dream. Only the frequency changes. Therefore, we think that world is permanent. It is same like a dream. Dream is only for 5 minutes. World is long. In the dream, it appears. Even the world appears in the eyes. The snake appeared. It is not there. Appeared. And once you know that it was only Atma, the serpent is not there. So once you know that is only the Atma, world is not there. We are entangling ourselves with the mind. And that is Maya. What we are seeing is Maya. What is appearing is Maya. It doesn't exist. The definition of Maya is that. I think Sanskrit word is that one only. Maya something. That like a magic person. You know. It is just like a magic. It appears. It is just like a dream. It appears, the world. But we are entangled in the serpent only. Unless we get this knowledge, it is not cleared. And that is what is Atma Jnana. Viveka. Beautifully told by Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the beautiful discussion. The expression I do is only Gauna, a figurative expression, Purva Pakshi's objection. When Shankara says this, the Purva Pakshi argues back by saying that when anyone says, I do, it is only a figure of speech. It is like saying, I did 60 miles an hour. I know I did not do 60 miles an hour. My car did it. Similarly, when I say I do, it is only figurative. I know I am distinct from the body and that it is the body that acts. But still, I say I do. The I cognition in the body, mind, sense complex is only figurative gauna. It is not false, mithya. When somebody says, I am fat, etc., he knows very well that he is not this body, etc. But at the same time, he uses these expressions not in their primary sense, but only in a secondary sense. It is not an erroneous notion, mithya pratyaya, like mistaking a rope as a snake. When I say I do aham karomi, it can be an error. The body can be taken as Atma and Atma can be taken as the body. That is an erroneous notion. But here it is not error. It is only figurative. This is the argument of the Purva Pakshi.
Beautiful.
Shankara rejects this. If that were true, anything born of the body would also be figurative. He is going to explain this later. The Purvakshi elaborates his stand. Now the objector explains his position further. I repeat once again. The Purva Pakshi elaborates his stand. Now the objector explains his position further. The I sense in the body, etc., which belongs to the self, is figurative, gauna, just like in one's own sun, which is expressed in the Veda as you are the self, that is called the sun. Let us understand this word gauna properly, because translating it as a figure of speech or secondary sense is problematic. The word gauna means that certain attributes are pointed out. When the father says to the son, "You are nothing but myself," this is definitely a gauna expression. The idea is, when you are happy, I am happy. And when you are unhappy, I become unhappy. The difference between the father and son is evident. But at the same time, there is an expression that indicates that one is the other. That is called a gauna expression. Because the son is born of him, the son is born in his own image. And more than that, the father has such a strong identification with his son that he can say that his son is himself. This is an example of a Vedic expression. In common parlance, too, we hear things like, "This cow is my life." Definitely, the one who says this knows that the cow is different from himself and he is different from the cow. But still, because his livelihood is dependent on the cow, he says that the cow is his life. This is another gauna expression. So too, it is argued here, is the expression "I do." It is not a false notion, an error, because the one who says this knows that Atma is other than the body, and he also knows that the body is other than the Atma. In a false notion, mithya pratyaya, the attributes of two things are not properly understood, as when the stump of a tree is taken for a person. If the person is understood and the stump is understood, one is not going to be mistaken for the other. Only if what is there is not known and something else is superimposed upon it, is it an error. What is superimposed? Aropa alone is seen and not the basis, adhisthana of the superimposition. That is error. But when I say I perform this ritual, I know the body and Atma are distinct, and therefore it is not error mithya pratyaya, but gauna. So says the Purva Pakshi. Should I read one more time?
No need. That is a Purva Pakshi's stand. We understood it. I think what Vedanta says, let us go there.
Can I request you to read this once again? Because it is not clear where Shankara stops and the Purva Pakshi begins.
No, it is completely
that's what-
Purva Pakshis. He is arguing that it is Gauna. He is not telling it is Mithya. You know, body and all that is not Mithya. It is Gauna. So if body does it, it is understood that Atma also does it, which is erroneous.
Yeah. Can you
That is,
yeah. Can you just go back to the previous paragraph, Pela, where
yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
One more reading. Yes, we will understand it.
Yeah, I will read from here, right? Purva
Yeah,
Pakshi's
this-
objection.
this one continues with the next paragraph, right? The whole thing is Purva Pakshis.
Correct. Yes.
So Shankara does not come in between at all.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but in
somewhere I
between he
heard Shankara
adds a
came in,
line.
yeah.
He adds
Yeah.
a line about him. Yeah, I read
No,
once
no.
again.
When Shankara says, Purva Pakshi argues like that. That is what is said.
Do you want me to read?
Okay.
You want to read, Dr. Mara?
Yeah, if you want me to read, I can do that. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Okay.
Today I can continue reading, but it is fine. You can read, no problem, Dr. Mara. You can read, I can continue sharing.
Oh, this is from the expression, is that right? You want to read from the expression? Okay.
Yes.
The
Yes.
No,
The-
I think one para before that.
Before that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is Vedanti's perspective. I think we can read at a stretch all this, right?
Okay.
This we've read already, no? 3-4 times, I think we read this.
So here, from here, even though the action is done by the body,
No, we did this, no? This is a false because we did the superimposition part. This is what Shankara says, isn't it? The whole the previous
Correct.
paragraph is all about Shankara's
Vedanti.
explaining
No, Shankara
avidya
says,
precedes action.
no, Shankara says about the ignorance, that is.
That's
what
what
is
I'm saying.
ignorance?
Yeah. So ignorance precedes any action. Any karma is due to ignorance alone, is what Shankara explained. Yeah. Now from the next paragraph, let's start. Yeah. Thanks.
This is Purva Pakshi says. Whatever this we read, no, is Purva Pakshi.
The expression I do is only gauna. The figurative expression. The expression I do is only gauna, a figurative expression. Purva Pakshi's objection. Purva Pakshi is objecting to what Sankara says. When Sankara says this, the Purva Pakshi argues back, saying that when anyone says, I do, it is only a figure of speech. It is like saying, I did 60 miles an hour. I know I did not do 60 miles an hour. My car did it. Similarly, when I say I do, it is only figurative. I know I am distinct from the body and that it is the body that acts. But still, I say I do. The I cognition in the body, mind, sense complex is only figurative, gauna. It is not false, mithya. So this line, I'll read this again. The I cognition in the body, mind, sense complex is only figurative, gauna. It is not false, mithya. When somebody says, I am fat, etc., he knows very well that he is not this body, etc. But at the same time, he uses these expressions not in their primary sense, but only in a secondary sense. It is not an erroneous notion, mithya pratyaya, like mistaking a rope as a snake. So again, it is not an erroneous notion, mithya pratyaya, like mistaking a rope as a snake. When I say I do aham karomi, it can be an error. The body can be taken as Atma, and Atma can be taken as the body. Again, the body can be taken as Atma, and Atma can be taken as the body. That is an erroneous notion. But here it is not error. It is only figurative. This is the argument of the Purvapakshi. Sankara rejects this. If that were true, anything born of the body would also be figurative. So again, Shankara rejects this. If that were true, anything born of the body would also be figurative. He is going to explain this later. So Purvapakshi elaborates his stand. Now the objector explains his position further. The I sense in the body, etc., which belong to the self. Again, are the I sense in the body, etc., which belongs to the self, is figurative, gauna, just like in one's own son, which is expressed in the Veda as you are the self, that is called the son. Let us understand this word gauna properly, because translating it as a figure of speech or secondary sense is problematic. The word gauna means the certain attributes are pointed out. When the father says to the son, you are nothing but myself, this is definitely a gauna expression. So he say, you are nothing but myself. This is a definitely gauna expression. The idea is, when you are happy, I am happy. And when you are unhappy, I am unhappy. I become unhappy. The difference between the father and son is evident, but at the same time, there is an expression that indicates that one is the other. That one is the other. That is called gauna expression. Okay. Because the son is born of him, the son is born in his own image, and more than that, the father has such a strong identification with his son that he can say that his son is himself. This is an example of Vedic expression. In common parlance too, we hear things like, this cow is my life. Okay, in common parlance too, we hear things like, this cow is my life. Definitely, the one who says this knows that the cow is different from himself and he is different from the cow. But still, because his livelihood depends on the cow, he says that cow is his life. This is another gauna expression. Looks like there are two different way of explaining this. So too, it is argued here is the expression I do. It is not it is not a false notion, an error. So when I say I do, it is not a false notion, an error, because the one who says this knows that Atma is other than the body. True. And he also knows that the body is other than the Atma. In a false notion, Mithya Pratyaya, the attributes of two things, again, the Mithya Pratyaya, the attributes of two things are not properly understood, as when the stump of a tree is taken for a person. Okay. So the stump of a tree is taken for a person. Like, the light post is like a ghost or something like that. That if the person is understood and the stump is understood, one is not going to be mistaken for the other. Only if what is there is not known and something else is superimposed upon it, is it an error? What is superimposed, aropa, alone is seen and not the basis, adhisthana, of the superimposition. That is error. But when I say I perform this ritual, I know the body and Atma are distinct, and therefore it's not error. Mithya pratyaya, but gauna. So says Purva Pakshi. So now is it somewhat clear, I think. Anyway, I'll
Yeah, very
continue.
clear. Very nice.
Yeah. So should we move forward in a
Yeah,
few
but
minutes?
and yeah, Jai Gurudev, but here it makes sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is Purva Pakshi. What he is saying is, it is not mithya, it is gauna. It is indicative. That
He
is what he
knows,
says.
he understands the difference. I mean, he recognizes the differentiate. He can differentiate between atma and mind and body.
Body, yeah.
But yes,
That mithya he is not understanding. He is telling that is gauna. Now we'll see what Shankara says.
yes,
Vedanti.
yes, yeah, very interesting it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
The
Purva
icon,
Pakshi, they do not consider it as an error.
yeah.
When we are
Yeah, because
superimposing, they think that it is Gauna. It is not
no, he doesn't
primary.
superimpose. He understands it is different, but it is a figurative speech. Like I would say, तुम मेरी जिंदगी हो doesn't mean he is my zindagi, right? It's a figurative speech. Exactly, without listening to what this, because I joined
Can
later. Yeah.
it's just my curiosity about reading,
Sure,
the few lines
yeah,
more
sure,
and
yeah,
see what we can.
absolutely.
Manana, is that okay? Yeah, sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you.
please go ahead, Dr. Mara. Yes.
The eye cognition in the body is not figurative, but erroneous. Okay, the eye cognition in the body is not figurative, but erroneous. Vedanti's answer. Shankara replies that this is not true, for there is something more to understand about a Gauna expression. What is accomplished by the primary thing is not accomplished by what it is figuratively said to be. So, again, what is accomplished by the primary thing is not accomplished by what it is figuratively said to be. For instance, even though the father says that the son is himself, when the son eats, it is not equal to his eating. But here, even though the karma is done by the body, mind, sense complex, the notion, I am the agent, is very much there. If it is not, how can he ever perform a karma like the Agnihotra?
Since he is doing it, definitely there is a sense of agency, kartrutva buddhi, imputed to the self. Anything done by the body is done by the self. Anything done by the body is done by the self. But that is not the case with the reference to something that is the object of Gauna expression. The action that the son does is not done by the father. Whereas here, the body does the action, but the notion is, I do the action. This is not Gauna, it's false, Mithya. Shankara explains further there are two types of comparative expressions. If you say a person's courage is like that of a lion, it is Vyakta Upama, or a simile. The courage of the lion and the courage of this person are identical. There is also a form of comparison which is not adequately stated, an elliptical comparison, Lupta Upama, or metaphor. Shankara gives a couple of examples of this type of comparison. If we say Devadatta is a lion, for instance, all qualities of lion do not concur with those of Devadatta. Lion has 4 legs, Devadatta has only 2. The lion has the man, Devadatta does not, and so on. But at the same time, you say Devadatta is a lion. What does it mean? In one aspect of the lion, there is a certain identity with the Devadatta, and only that identity is pointed out by this word lion. He has the fierceness of the lion or the courage of the lion. Okay. So the Devadatta, he has the fierceness of the lion or the courage of the lion. This is the Gauna expression. Even though there is a point of similarity, what the lion does. Okay. So even though there is a point of similarity, what the lion does, Devadatta cannot do at all. The lion can kill an elephant or a tiger without a rifle. Will Devadatta be able to do that? No. So too in the expression, the student is fire. The similarity is only in terms of his brilliance. The student is fire. The similarity is only in terms of his brilliance or skin color. Shankara says he cannot do what fire can do. In other words, you cannot boil a kettle of water on his head. The object of Gauna expression cannot do exactly what the thing to which it is compared can do. On the other hand, when you say I do, you mean it. The Atma is taken to be the agent. If you do not accept that, what you are saying is what Vedanta says. If you know that in spite of the body and mind doing various things, you are not doing anything, you understand that Atma is Sat Chit Ananda. Only then can you say that Atma is Akarta. If that is so, we have nothing further to discuss. But if whatever the body does, Atma does, and whatever is Atma, that is the lot of the body, it is Mithya statement. I'll read this line again. But if whatever the body does, Atma does, and whatever is Atma, that is the lot of the body, it is a Mithya statement and not Gauna. A Gauna expression, either as an expression of elliptical comparison or metaphor, is only meant to praise or reveal a quality of the thing being compared. It is not meant to be used to reveal a thing directly. What is accomplished by a lion can never be accomplished by Devadatta, nor can what is accomplished by fire be accomplished by the student, that is Gauna. On the other hand, one does experience the undesirable thing which is accomplished by
a false cognition, mithya pratyaya. If a person identifies the self with the body, if a person identifies the self with the body, the outcome of that identification is action leading to punya papa, sukha dukkha, raga dveshas, and all that is undesirable. I'll read this line again. If a person identifies the self with the body, the outcome of that identification is the action leading to punya papa, sukha dukkha, raga dvesha, and all that is undesirable. In other words, it leads to samsara. Not only that, the one who hears this Gauna expression knows the object described very well. Knows the object described very well. He knows that Devadatta is not a lion and the student is not a fire. There is no mistake, and there is and there is on the other hand discrimination, viveka, where there is a lack of discrimination, and because of that, the cognition of a given thing in something that it is not, in the situation of atas, atasmin tat buddhihi, there is mithya pratyaya. Situation of atasmin tat buddhihi, there is a mithya pratyaya. A mithya pratyaya is born of aviveka, lack of discrimination. So this is a big difference here, right? Gauna is elliptical comparison, whereas the Mithya Pratyaya is born of aviveka, lack of discrimination. This is the difference between the Gauna Pratyaya and Mithya Pratyaya. Knowing that Devadatta is Devadatta and not lion, yet calling him as a lion is a Gauna Pratyaya. Mistaking a tree stump for a person is a mithya pratyaya, which is born of aviveka. So lack of discrimination is mithya pratyaya. Knowing the difference between the two is discrimination. Knowing the difference between the two is a discrimination, viveka. When you say, I am the doer, karta, and the Veda has asked me to perform this karma, and therefore I am doing it, even though the action is done by the body, mind, sense complex, and that alone is the karta, and that becomes the Atma. Although you believe that Atma is other than the body, Atma is mistaken for the doer, karta. The erroneous notion, due to lack of discrimination, is what is called mithya pratyaya. It is gauna, a figure of speech, only when there is discrimination between the two objects involved. Okay, it is a gauna, a figure of speech, only there is a discrimination between the two objects involved. Therefore, it is not true that the I cognition in the body mind sense complex is only figurative. Gauna. So he's just refuting that that figurative expression is called gauna. That's not correct. Suppose you understand the difference between the two and still you say Devadatta is lion to point out his similarity to a lion in some respect, that is called gauna pratyaya. Here the real lion is the mukhya primary. Okay, here the real lion is the mukhya primary. Devadatta is the gauna figurative lion. And here it is understood that the gauna lion, Devadatta, cannot do the actions of the mukhya lion, the thing to which it is compared, and vice versa. Accordingly, Shankara says that if the body mind sense complex is only the figurative self, while the primary self is distinct from the body. Again, accordingly, Shankara says that if the body mind sense complex is only the figurative self, while the primary self is distinct from the body, there would be the following situation. A karma that is done by the Gauna Atma, the body, mind, sense complex, which is figuratively called the self, would not be done by the Mukhya Atma, the self, which is the primary object of the I cognition. Where there is a Gauna Pratyaya, the difference between the two is evident, and the one does not do the actions of the other. What is done by the figurative line, Devadatta, the figurative fire, the student, is not done by the real line or the real fire. If the figurative fire, the student reads a book, no one thinks that the fire reads a book. Okay. I hope I'm not
I
crossing.
think we can
Uh,
stop here because it is continuing.
Yeah, I
For
think
two
we
pages.
stop
Right
here.
over.
I know it is
Yeah.
good to continue, but then we'll maintain our actually
Time.
gone
Yeah.
that time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
So
mic.
tomorrow, I
But
think we can start with this Gauna again and go through. So then we'll read in one good flow
yeah.
Yes.
without interruptions, and then we can do some manana on that. Okay?
Yeah. That'd be better. I think that way we can
Yeah.
have understanding. Yeah.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Gurudev, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'm again. I don't know why this message is coming. I'm not able to share. I'm sorry again today. I will not be able to share the Maya Panchakam or Brahma Gnana Valley. Yesterday night I repaired it and I put it, but again the same thing, same error it is showing.
No problem, Bella. We'll close here today. Jai Gurudev.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Jai Gurudev.